Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. Today, this video is literally going into the toilet. I can't help myself. I'm going to show you how to clear out your toilet valve. And I said this in an earlier video where I showed you how to take these restrictors out of the back of these valves if they're loading slowly. But in this video, I'm going to show you seriously how to take the valve apart, flush it out, and clear out any debris or junk that may be in there, and perhaps that'll fix your problem with slow filling, if of course the actual restrictor is not inside your toilet valve. And see a video up here. I'm going to put a card for that video so that you can watch that as well. So if your toilet's filling slowly, maybe that's the issue. But first, you should try clearing out this valve, see if it makes any difference. If it doesn't, I would say check for the water restriction unit inside this valve. Here's two different valves that I have, the toilet valves. I got the 400A and the 400 CAR3. This is the 400 CAR3. It's slightly more, robust, a little bigger. It looks like it has a bigger valve head. I'm not sure. But regardless, this is the basic. This is a kit with a flapper in it. But they both disassemble the same way. And I'll show you how to disassemble them both with a little bit of variance between the two. Just to show you that there's different ways to disassemble them. But they basically both come apart the same way. So take the valve head off. The easy, fast way to do it is, first of all, you got to make sure that you take the float and put it all the way to the top. If you do not, you could break the plastic. That lifts this lever and helps it to clear the lock. So hold it like this, and if it's in the tank, the same thing. Hold it like this. Make sure that the float is all the way up. Push down on the head, turn counterclockwise, and remove. Okay, so put it back is exactly the same procedure. Notice how I bent the plastic there again, but this has got a lot of flex to it. And another option too is, if you want, you can pop this off. And again, be careful, it's plastic, so you just pop it off by putting pressure on it here, and it will snap. Well, should snap out. Let's see if I can get it to happen. Again, scary, if you don't. There we go. So there, now the float is off. But again, even with the float off, this lever needs to be all the way to the top, okay? If it's not at the top, don't turn it and force it, you'll break it. So lift the lever, push down on and there it goes. Now you have the whole thing off. You can wipe this off with a cloth. You can, flush this out if you wish, but I'll show you how to flush this out inside the tank. So that's the valve disassembly. I'll show you how to put it back together again. Now the other thing too is the lock collar on the bottom. You can actually take the top unit right out of the tank, as long, like I said, make sure the water is off. But you can take the whole top unit out of the tank, and then it'll be easier to handle and clean. And you could probably wash it in a sink if you wanted to with water. So let's take the collar, move it up towards the valve head, and then at this point you can just twist the bottom off. You should be able to. There we go, and there it comes off. Now once you've taken this off, you can wash it out, pour water through it, wash it out any way you want. Or you can watch how I flushed it inside the tank next. But that's another way of taking it apart and cleaning it. Also in here, we want to flush this out too. If you got it out, take it and put it in the sink and run some water through it. Make sure there's no debris in there, right? In here, and yeah, that's it. So again, this all comes apart easily even inside the tank. This will be screwed to the bottom of the tank, and you can just slide the valve head off by using that collar. So we'll put it back together again. Same thing. Now, once you take it apart, just note how much was out of the, out when you took it out, because you're going to have to adjust the level of water again if you do separate the two halves. All right. So put the collar back, slide it all the way down. That locks it, and you can still turn it to make it higher and lower, but you won't be able to pull it off. There's pretty tight at that point. Now to put it back together again, let's just do that simply. Like I said, they both come apart the same way. Again, remember valve, this arm on the valve, make sure it's up, push it in, turn it clockwise, and you're done. Now, next thing to do, of course, is just snap this back in, and it's a lot less scary going in than coming out. again, be gentle. It's plastic. If you're going to take it apart again, inside the tank, make sure you put the float all the way to the top and then twist it, because that keeps the arm out of the way of the lock, and that way it comes apart nicely. And that's the exact same procedure on the other valve with the blue cover on top, the 400 CAR3. So next I'm going to show you how to do that in the tank. The first thing you want to do before doing any of this service on the toilet is to check that shut-off valve down there. First of all, look at it, see if there's any corrosion or any crusty stuff on it. Number one, that's an indication that you have a leak. Look for water leaks anywhere, and if you see that that's okay, then check your feed line. In my case, it's a copper pipe or a steel pipe, so there's no issue with it. It's perfect. It's working just fine. But a lot of these tanks have a flexible hose that goes on right there, and that gets old and brittle after a while. Usually they're made out of plastic or something like that. Some of them are braided stainless steel, which makes them last a lot longer, of course. But just check them, make sure there's no leaks you know, at the valve anywhere, and then there's no leaks underneath the tank there as well. So you want to address those problems before you go and flush the valve of debris to see if it's you know, that's what's causing it to go slow. But you know, you want to make sure everything's cool before you start turning that valve, because here's the deal: if that valve is defective, if that valve is corroded, and you turn that valve, there is a chance that it'll break. And once it breaks, you're going to have water everywhere. So if you see any chance or any you know, corrosion anywhere on the valve, or you know, you start turning and it's really stiff or something like that, stop. You know, before you go any further, replace that valve. And I might do a video on how to replace that valve. It's pretty straightforward. And a lot of the times too, the rubber seals inside the valve wear out because they've been in there for 20 years. And that means that it won't shut off correctly, or it won't hold water correctly after you turn it, because the rubber is old, and as you turn it, you break the rubber and the water starts leaking out. So be careful with that. Maybe put something underneath it to keep from any leakage coming out. But if you see any leakage at all when you turn it, or it's just really stiff when you're turning it, I would strongly suggest that you get the valve replaced if you don't know how to do it yourself. And I may make a video on how to do it too. So that's the valve. Mine's perfectly fine. It's closed off, and to close it off, you have to turn it clockwise. Make sure it's closed off, and you know, flush the toilet a couple times to empty all the water in the toilet. And if it doesn't refill, you know that valve's closed. If it does refill, you know the valve's open, or that the valve isn't shut off even though you've turned it as far as you could. And if that happens, again, do not do any service on your toilet. What you need to do is service that valve. So that's, as far as the valve goes, that's the valve we're going to be using to open and close to flush the valve. All right, took the lid off. As you can see, the tank is clear. Not much water in there at all. Not that that's all that big a deal, but I think the less water there's in it, is better, because you're going to get a better grip on the actual valve itself. And again, make sure there's no water pressure. You can do that by, you know, testing that. You can see that there's no, you know, water coming in. So we're good. If you take the valve head off while it's pressurized, you're going to have a shower in your bathroom or restroom. It's going to be water everywhere, and until you shut the valve off, you won't be able to stop the water. You might be able to just jam it back on, but just be careful, make sure there's no water. So next, we're going to turn this counterclockwise and take it off. And my trick for that is grab the base and, you know, twist in this direction. Now, if you can't get your hands in there, you just can't get a grip on it, you can take the whole unit out by releasing the lock on the bottom, as I showed you earlier. And, you know, just take it out, then twist it off, and then put it back in again, and flush it, and as I'm going to show you, and then take it out again, put it back together again, and test it out. So let's see. This float moves, so get your hand underneath it if you can. We're going to go counterclockwise. There we go. And as you can see, the valve just lifts off and drops down. Now we have this opening here, and you know, you may want to also wipe the bottom off. There's a rubber seal here on the bottom of the valve. I can't show you that because it's attached, but again, wipe it off. I might be able to just take that off of there. Don't want to break it. Anyways, just wipe it off with a cloth, and you know, now we're ready to flush this out. So I'm just going to use a clear jar so you guys so you guys can see the water pouring out of it, and we'll go from there. Now you'll see what happens if you take this, if the valve is off when on when you take that valve head off. This is what would happen. As you can see, a nice flow of water coming out of there, and that flushes it out. Again, I've already wiped the bottom of that valve off, but I suggest you do. That's it. That's flushed. At this point, all you need to do is lift this back up, put it back in, and lock it on. Now, I'm going to test it here and make sure. The other thing too is watch my other videos where I show you, I'll put a tag up here, what other things can actually cause this to fill slowly. You know, that clog will make your water roll in there real slow. And the other thing that can happen also is they make a restrictor on these now, a water restrictor, and I made a whole video on that, so I'll put a card up there for it, top of the screen. And if you take it out, then it acts like this one does and fills at a normal rate. So let's just fill it up, see if we're good. And after you do that, make sure you check the valve for leaks. Mine looks good at this moment. And as you can see in the tank, I got hard water. At least I believe that's what that is. Ta-da, it's working just great. And no leaks anywhere. Do double check under the tank as well, because you move things around, it puts pressure on stuff, and you know, sometimes you lose a seal when you do that. So make sure you do that. We're done here. We'll put the lid on, and the lid, just be careful, the lid is made out of porcelain. Just put it on. Make sure it seats right, and you're done. That's it for my video on clearing the valve, or flushing out the valve on your toilet. This is the Fluidmaster, by the way, just so you know. And you know, basically, if those two things don't fix your toilet filling slowly, well, there's some other issue. Maybe you got a bad valve on the fill side, like the valve that turns the water on and off to your tank, or maybe you got a bad valve inside your tank and you need a new one of these. So either way, I have a video on how to replace all that stuff, and I'm going to put a playlist up there as well, showing you all those videos in one place. All right, if you like this video and it helped you out in some way, do me a huge favor, give me a thumbs up here at the bottom, a like. That helps my video and my channel greatly, and I greatly appreciate it as well. Also, if you like my content and you want to see more of it, subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon when you subscribe, so you'll be notified when I put up a video, and then you can watch it at your own leisure, you know, or as soon as you wish. Also, the comments section below, any questions, any suggestions, any video suggestions, I love those. Put them in the comment section below. Also, anything else you want to say to me, feel free to put them in the comment sections. I read those and respond to them regularly. And this video, believe it or not, is one of the videos that was created from a comment in my original valve replacement video. So I appreciate all your comments and all your feedback. It's really, really great for me. All right. So also in the video description below, I'm going to put a bunch of links to all the hardware that I used here, the valves and so on. And those are affiliate links, and what that means is when you buy through those links, I get a little piece of the sale. It doesn't cost you any more than just going straight to Amazon or eBay. So do me a huge favor, if you're going to buy these things, use those links and in the video description, so you get the same things that I'm using as well. So that's another plus about using the links, is that you're going to get the exact same thing that I'm showing in the video. So click on the links, do me a favor, help me out, subscribe, like, share, and comment. And other than that, like always, take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you on the next video.